Hello, everyone. I have a special guest. Sometimes I do videos on a lot of different topics. Today, we're going to do one on a really amazing success story from Bart Ratliff. And so this guy, I saw, he sent a video in, it just literally blew me away. In 5 months, he lost 90 pounds. Okay, 90 pounds. It's incredible. So welcome, Bart. Thanks for being on.
Dr. Berg, thank you so much. It's an honor to be speaking to you, number one, just because of all the wonderful education you've given me over the last 6 months and the results it's produced.
Wow. Well, it's quite impressive. I mean, I know some people might be watching and maybe they lost less and they might be a little bit more frustrated, but you know what? I want to cover some of the things that you did and some of the barriers that you ran into, because people always want to know, like, okay, what did he do? So let's first talk a little bit about what type of pattern of fasting did you do? Did you do, 16 hours, 18 hours? What type of fasting did you do?
Well, Dr. Berg, the way I jumped in, and this started on May 23rd of 22, I started at 1 meal a day. And through the education, through your videos, I knew how effective that would be for me. And to say the least, my first couple of days, it's a transition. And of course, had the headaches the first day or two, but I knew that I was 100% committed and devoted because I knew this would work for me. And I kind of just held fast and stayed the course. And because I knew I would no longer have that. So 1 meal a day.
1 meal a day
on the ketogenic diet.
That's good. I think you did mention this before, and I want to bring this up. I mean, you tried this a while ago, but at that time, there was some stress involved, and I always bring this up, like when you have family or spouses that maybe are not on the same page, it's more difficult. I mean, it's crazy more difficult because kind of create, when you're going to eat, and then you got to be in front of the food, or it's just a lot of disagreements. So I think you did have a situation that basically you started it a long time ago and then it worked, but then you got off because of that for a period of time. So maybe you can just touch on that.
Bad. A couple of years ago, I did have some success. I was actually referred to a 1 meal a day by a friend of mine, Everett, out of Salt Lake City. And I said, 1 meal a day? Are you nuts? And then I did some research on it. I kept on hearing about this OMAD. I thought it was OMAD. I said, this must be some guy that created this plan. I said, 1 meal a day. It makes sense.
Yeah, right.
So, but yes, we were, my significant other at the time, we started it and we had success, and we were luckily I found you through YouTube on the ketogenic, to include that with the 1 meal a day, and that helped us stay focused. And then after several months, then there were some other ideas shared, and sometimes the negativity and the environment that you're in, sometimes it defocuses you on your ultimate goal, even though you've seen how effective it is. And I let we just kind of got off track, and I kind of got off track, even though it was working very well for me. But when you have other influences in your life at the time, it definitely can deter somebody. And I was thinking more about somebody else than myself, and that's kind of what happened. But luckily, I found my way back. So
about a couple of years later, you picked it back up, and then you were at your peak weight was like 313 pounds, right?
Well, that's when I was started. No, my peak weight, I was 335 when I started a couple of years ago. Wow. But luckily I didn't gain it all back. And I was sitting at 313 when I started back in May, at the end of May.
So, question: when you were in high school, were you a thin guy growing up in your 20s?
I was always a big guy, and growing up in high school, I think I was just thinking about this the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine that's also been inspired by my story, and even in high school, I think my junior year I was 260, and then because I wasn't even I ended up going to 6'4". I think it was my sophomore year in college, but I was only like 6'2" when I graduated. But I was 260, then I came down to 230. I was back and forth, a lot of pressure on my health and my always on diets.
Oh, really?
Years, so I went through the yo-yo string over the years, but so that I was a big guy in high school, and then I kind of slimmed down, and then when college happened, back in the 80s, I was having a good time, and was certainly not focused then on my health and nutrition back then, to say the least, as it's been like that for many, many years. But yeah, I was. I think the highest I was in high school, even in junior high, when I was bigger. I always played football, but 260 was usually 260, and then I would go down, and then I would come back up. And
so a couple of years ago, when you decided, before you even started looking and discovered like, oh, keto, was there something that motivated you that said, you know what, I need to do this?
Actually, my significant other, she had an event coming up, and we decided she was starting to eat better and do some working out. And then, of course, I wanted to support my wife. And so I joined along with her. And then I was doing some research 20 years previous. I had read a book called Body for Life by Bill Phillips. And of course, his philosophy, I really loved his philosophy on the strength training and the cardio, doing the high intensity hit training, which I really loved. But he was more of a 6 meal a day guy. And that's what my mindset has been all these years up until a couple of years ago. And but that was one of the reasons we started it. And then there was a guy that was featured in that Body for Life book. Everett happened to live in Salt Lake, and we got together. He told me about the 1 meal a day, and then we started doing that. Then a couple of weeks later, we got back together, and I said, well, I'm kind of tired all the time. I said, we ought to do more fat. You ought to, find out, do keto. And that's how actually I found you, Dr. Berg.
Wow. And then as far as the meals that you ate during this process, did you do it exactly like the book, or did you kind of have some times where you fell off the wagon, like and like what kind of discipline did you have as you gone through this to keep your carbs?
For my current journey, are you talking about for my current journey?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, you know what? I focus in on my meals. One of the things I always try to focus in on are, as you say, especially on my protein, I will do a grass-fed, grass-finish hamburger. I mean, hamburger's probably 70% of my meals. So I'll buy the pound of the grass-fed, grass-finish beef. I'll cut it in half. I'll do 8 ounces one day. And then I'll do that 2 to 3, usually 3 to 4 days a week. And then I'll mix in some salmon, some wild caught salmon, and then some eggs. And then maybe one day, once every couple of weeks, I'll throw in eggs as my protein. And then, of course, I always do my big salad. And it's kind of funny, over the last 6 months, I mentioned this in that video I sent you, but I kind of start my day watching one of your videos. I love how you 5 to 6 days a week, you always update a new video. So a lot of times I'll run through and kind of see the videos that I might not have seen, or it's been a while since I've seen. But one of the things I remember when I started, I was all spinach. I said, Popeye, eat your spinach, and then I started seeing, the benefits of the lettuce and of the arugula. And I said, arugula? I never thought about that. But now I always kind of more of a plan, do, review. I'm a consultant and a strategist when it comes to marketing and technology. So I'm always big about that with the projects I'm working on. So I started really kind of focusing in on that. So now that's one of the ways I start my meals now. I do my big salad, and you say 5 to 7 cups. I had this massive bowl, and I figured about 7 ounces. I get the containers with the organic arugula and the organic leafy greens. And so I just chop everything up. I usually try to find like a nice red pepper or something like that. And then I fill up this big bowl. It's usually about 7 ounces. I have no idea how many cups it is, but I know it's a massive salad. And at first I was doing like the blue cheese. And then the more I saw your videos, and I start, oh, wait a minute, how about the organic extra virgin olive oil? So I started buying that. And then I just recently saw the video of the olive oil that you use. So I finally said, well, I need to upgrade my extra virgin olive oil. So I actually ordered some. Luckily, I found it on Amazon, the exact type that you use. Same with the apple cider vinegar. So I was doing I think it was the Brags, and then you had a video about the Brags and the other, I can't remember the name of it, but I have it in my cabinet right now. So I upgraded that. It's amazing the strength of that apple cider vinegar, how much stronger that it is than the ones that I was using, the Mother's Brag. And then I went to the one that you recommended. It's like twice as strong. So what I'll do, I'll add a little organic lemon juice in that as well to kind of help out with that. So.
Oh yeah, I tell you, it's you find all sorts of interesting things. I actually went to this farm where they make this olive oil twice, and I was just like, come on, you got to be kidding. You guys put that much care, that much energy into producing this. I'm like, all right, you sold me. I'm gonna use this. So I when I find something like that, I'm gonna tell people about it because it's so healthy on many different levels. So I mean, even if you don't put on your salad, you should probably drink a couple teaspoons a day or tablespoons, just because it's like great. But so sounds like you're kind of just, you're just kind of doing what someone else, you're piggybacking off of someone else's success story, or successful actions, which I'm doing, because I experiment with everything, all sorts of therapies. I have 3 different therapies I haven't even told anyone about. I'm actually doing on myself, actually more than that. And if it works, I will let you know.
Well, we're very excited to hear that, right?
Oh yeah. So this is really good. And then what about, do you have any problem like social events, parties, things like that, that you kind of go off the program a little bit here and there, or do you just have any way of pushing through that? What do you have that?
Well, I do. I'm very well aware. Usually once a month, I'll have to do a business trip, and a lot of times. I mean, I was just in Miami back in September, and happened to be my birthday week as well. So I was hanging out. So I did stay pretty focused. I think I might have done one extra meal 2 different days, and I did have a bite of birthday cake and ice cream. I like a couple bites of it. So I might have had a couple drinks, but one of the things I did phase out was specifically alcohol. It's not like I'm a big drinker anyway, but I do know I loved your video on the benefits of alcohol. That was so funny. And also the cheat day with Karen with the big hatchet she had in her hand. That was funny. That's one of the great things I love about your videos. You do have a great sense of humor, and it's very, very easy to watch. And I do appreciate how you frame all those. But the way how I handle that, Dr. Berg, just like on my most recent trip to Texas to see a group of high school friends, I do stay very focused on my eating. I might eat a little bit more than I normally do on my 1 meal a day. And there might be, if I have a cold beer or something like that, like I said, it's just I might have one. But the way I handle that, when I get back home, I go back to my normal 1 meal a day eating. And then after 2 days of eating back on my process, I'll do a 48-hour fast. And usually then that resets me and I'm back on the train. But that first day after going off my program, if I'm especially eating out, because I eat out every meal when I'm traveling, and there's always going to be, let's face it, garbage in the food that they serve you, even no matter how careful you are. But it does that first day back. I mean, you definitely feel the effect of that not eating properly. And but that's how I do it. I do 2 days. I stay steadfast and like I normally eat, and then I do a 48-hour, and that usually just snaps it right out. I'm back in play again.
Well, I can tell you've been watching my videos because you're doing applying all these different things.
Maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, right.
That's great. What about through the period of time? I think it's you're down 95 pounds right now total.
Yeah. 280.
Is it always consistent? You lose this much weight per week, or is it kind of like you lose more and then less and then nothing and then more and then less and then what? How did it go with your losing weight?
Well, my first 4 months, I took it off pretty quickly, and I always incorporate activity into my game plan. Now, of course, at first, I mean that was like 12 minutes of walking on the treadmill, and then I kind of went up to doing the rowing machine, and then as I got healthier, because it was great that I was losing the weight, but it was more about feeling good and being healthy, because I know with good health comes the weight loss. So I did lose more weight at first, because let's face it, I was 313 pounds. I am 6'4", and it's, oh, what do you carry? And I said, yeah, I carry it, but I'm a whole lot. I mean, I have this jacket I wear that I bought a couple of years ago, and I mean, I put it on now, and it's just like I wrap it around. I mean, it's just, oh my God, I can't believe that. Just how much I filled that thing out. Over the last couple of months, I've been averaging about 10 pounds per month. And one of the things I do not weigh every day. That's, because I know, I mean, you drink a couple of bottles of water the night before, your weight's going to go up a couple of pounds. I mean, it's so intense. But I do try to focus in maybe once or twice a month I'll weigh. And but like I said, I mean, I'm extremely happy at the weight I am. I mean, my God, I can walk into a store and I'm buying jeans in the 30s. I mean, are you serious?
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
and
Wow.
it's so weird because they feel snug, but it's not. There's nothing like hanging over. I mean, I'm just. It's just absolutely mind blowing to me. To be at that point, because like I said, 20 years ago, I did lose a significant amount of weight through the Body for Life, and it was a great time. But then I just put it right back on. That was the whole 6 meal a day concept. And I said, my God, if I would have only had this education 20 years ago, I mean,
there's women watching this going, wow, that wasn't my case. I can't seem to lose 10 pounds per month. I just want to mention one thing. If there's any women watching this, is you have a situation where men typically have it in the midsection, less in the hips and the thighs, right? Well, the type of fat that is hips, thighs, buttocks is usually more superficial fat versus the fat around the organs in the midsection. And the thing to know is that it's less influenced, believe it or not, by this insulin problem. Now, what can we do with that information? Well, if you do the diet, okay, you're going to lose the stomach for sure in this whole thing. But if you have more hip and thigh weight, you're going to have to actually add more exercise, especially to get more lean muscle to burn more calories. And that's going to have to be more than even someone that doesn't have that weight. Like if you have more hip weight, you're going to have to also add some pretty serious workouts to the point where you recover. Don't ever exercise over recovery, but definitely you're going to have to add that exercise component in there more than anyone else. So I just want to add it in there, and then you will see more change. But just to rely just on the diet, you may lose your gut, but you may not lose the hip weight. I also wanted to, for those of you that are watching, what would be like the biggest tip that you would tell people, or advice, if you had to give like one tip, if someone thinking about this but they're not quite sold on it yet, what would you tell them to motivate them to get started?
Well, actually, educate yourself on the process, and I highly recommend. I mean, your YouTube channel is phenomenal. One of the things I do, if I do have any specific questions, I'll go to YouTube and I'll type in my question and put Dr Berg. And the great thing, 99% of the time, there's a video that addresses those specific questions. And one of the things, it's really kind of stay tuned and stay dialed in and really understand your why, on why you want to move forward with this health transformation or this lifestyle change for yourself. I mean, my whole deal was, number one, look, I'm 57 years old. I've not been fortunate enough to have a family, and that's something that, in the right situation, that would be something that would just be lovely for myself to start a family, and that's something that I keep in my back of my mind. But the biggest thing is when I start my day, I really do. I pull up when I get up in the morning. Of course, I do my scoop of wheatgrass. I do my scoop of oh my gosh, I totally went blank.
I think you mentioned electrolytes.
Electrolytes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, that's how I start my day every morning. And then I'll pull up the YouTube channel. Normally, by the time, because I'm on the Mountain Time, you've already uploaded your video for the day. Even though it might not really apply to me, I'll watch it, because a lot of times I'll get great tips and tricks on how to stay more dialed in. I mean, this is how I transitioned. The way I ate 6 months ago to the way I eat now. I'm being more dialed in and more conscious. I'm buying organic, the grass-fed, the grass-finished meat, what type of apple cider vinegar, what type of olive oil. I mean, I buy the organic balsamic vinaigrette, and I read the labels. And one thing I don't do, Doctor, I don't do all these keto bars and keto stuff that's in the stores.
Good.
I don't do those. I don't do those. I mean, every now and then I'll do a pint of Rebel. I love the Rebel. Okay. I mean, or something like that, but that's very rare. Maybe once a month I'll treat myself or do something like that. But having that stuff around, people think, and then you see all this stuff on Facebook and Instagram, all these reels on these keto experts, and all they're doing is showing you how to make snacks. Snack. I mean, what? Hello. I mean, it's actually comical to see all this stuff. I mean, it looks delicious. I mean, if you're going to make like a little keto treat, I mean, there's some great ways you can make them yourself, not by the stuff on the shelves. I mean, I'm not going to say garbage, but I did mention that word. But yeah, it's quite fascinating when you look at this and they put keto on the label. People say, "Oh, I can buy that." Well, look at the label; it will really open your mind. And one of the other things, I don't know if I mentioned this, as far as my big why, besides wanting a long, healthy life, is both of my parents were greatly affected by Alzheimer's. And I lost my mom in 2006, and at the young age of 73 years old. Okay. And then my dad, he was about to turn 89. This is in 2014, but I helped care for them, both my mother and my father. And that was very difficult for me to see them go through that. And my sister, my lovely sister Margaret, we both experienced that, and she has always been more health-minded than myself, and it's just so wonderful catching up and chatting with her, and she just loves seeing my journey. And I have so much support from my friends, and I have a tremendous amount of friends that I'm lucky enough to develop some tremendous relationships over the last 35 years, in my sales and consulting and speaking. And it's just so nice to see such encouragement through my transformation. And luckily, another great thing about it, it's apparently I've inspired a whole lot of people. And I love hearing people's progress. My friend AJ down in Florida, and Chris, a high school buddy of mine, they reach out and they ask me, and I just said, well, this is what works for me, and this is how I found out how to do this. And a lot of times if they have questions, I'll just Google Dr. Berg and just put it in there, and I'll send them the video to help them be on track. So, but that's awesome. As far as, that's one of the videos. I mean, the keto basics, how to supercharge your prolonged fasting. I love that video. Anytime. And by the way, when I do those 48 or the 72 hours, which I try to do at least one 72-hour a month, and I've done that for the last couple months. I'll watch the videos the day before I plan on doing that. And then the next morning, I'll watch that video every single morning to really help me stay focused and on track on the reason I'm doing it. I'm not doing this to lose additional weight. I'm doing it for the health benefit.
Well, I have to say, Bart, you're definitely the epitome of what I'm trying to do with people, give them the right tools, and you're applying everything that I'm telling you. So well done. Very well done. proud of you. Great job. I think you're going to inspire a lot of people from this video. So, so I do want to thank you for your time and going over this, because people are going to definitely, there's probably a lot of people are just going to get started just because they want to lose weight too. And now you kind of broke it down so it's easy for them. So anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll have to do a post video when you get down to 150. I'm just being sarcastic. We're not going to go that low. But,
there's that humor. I love it. But no, I appreciate taking the time to speak to me. And I have a really a big service mentality, and this is one of the things I really enjoy about sharing my transformation and my updates. I usually do a little post on Facebook every 2 weeks, and it's not to pitch or sell anything. I mean, you see so much of that in this industry, in the health industry. It's just really disturbing sometimes to see that. And but I do that in the fact that there is a solution, no matter how old you are or what your health level is. I mean, 57 years old, I was, plus over 300, and if you kind of follow the plan and educate yourself and stay focused, it can certainly happen to you, even when you hit those soft spots, the barriers. And then that's when you can just push through those, stay consistent, and do not give up.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and this is great. I think you're going to help a lot of people from just telling your story. This is awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Berg. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to the update.
Awesome. All right. Have a great day.
You too.